Throughout history, wealth has been synonymous with power. But what happens when that wealth becomes so vast, so untouchable, that it spans generations, shapes nations, and influences every aspect of our lives? Behind closed doors, the world's richest families don't just control industries, they control legacies. These are the dynasties, whose names you may not even know, yet their influence is everywhere. But what dark secrets lurk behind the gates of unimaginable wealth? And how have these families shaped the world to serve their own interests? Let's start with the Rothschilds, a name often whispered in conspiracy theories and financial history alike. This European banking dynasty began in the late 18th century, founded by Meyer Amschel Rothschild in Frankfurt, Germany. He devised a strategy of placing his 5 sons in major financial centers across Europe, creating an unparalleled network of financial influence. They funded wars, including both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, and underwrote national debt for entire countries. At one point, their wealth was so immense that they were rumored to control the global banking system. While much of their influence today has waned or moved into more discreet investments, the Rothschild name still carries weight. But their secrecy fuels suspicion. Are they truly as powerful as the myths claim? Or have they become scapegoats for a system they helped create? And how does a family so steeped in financial history remain so elusive in the modern world? Next, we turn to the Rockefellers, the quintessential American oil dynasty. John D. Rockefeller founded Standard Oil in 1870, a company so dominant it controlled over 90% of U.S. oil production at its peak. This monopoly was so vast, it led to the creation of antitrust laws to curb such corporate power. However, breaking up Standard Oil didn't end the Rockefeller legacy. It only diversified their influence. The family retained substantial shares in the resulting companies, including ExxonMobil and Chevron, ensuring their wealth continued to grow. Beyond oil, the Rockefellers established philanthropic ventures like the Rockefeller Foundation, which funded medical breakthroughs, education reforms, and even the United Nations. But critics argue that their philanthropy served as a way to sanitize their image while maintaining their grip on power. The Rockefeller Foundation has been accused of using its funding to shape public opinion and advance its own interests, from promoting particular agricultural policies to influencing global health care. How do we distinguish genuine philanthropy from strategic influence when it comes to families like the Rockefellers? Then there's the Walton family, heirs to the Walmart empire. Walmart revolutionized retail by offering low prices, but the cost of those savings has been immense. The company has been accused of underpaying workers, suppressing unions, and outsourcing jobs to exploit cheap labor abroad. Despite a combined net worth exceeding $200 billion, many Walmart employees rely on food stamps and Medicaid to make ends meet, a burden shifted onto taxpayers. Meanwhile, the Walton family enjoys unparalleled wealth, with private jets, luxury estates, and philanthropic ventures that critics argue are mere window dressing. How can a company built on serving the average American perpetuate such inequality? And let's not forget the House of Saud, the royal family of Saudi Arabia. Their control over the country's vast oil reserves has made them one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in the world. With a fortune estimated at $1.4 trillion, the House of Saud wields enormous influence over global energy markets. But their wealth has come at a significant cost. Human rights violations, suppression of dissent, and allegations of funding extremist ideologies have marred their global image. Despite this, their strategic alliances with world powers, particularly the US, have ensured their continued dominance. From lavish lifestyles to repressive policies, the House of Saud remains a symbol of how wealth can insulate rulers from accountability. The Koch family offers another fascinating case study. Charles and the late David Koch turned their family business into a multinational conglomerate with interests in oil, chemicals, and consumer goods. Their fortune, estimated at over $100 billion, has been used to fund a vast network of political organizations, think tanks, and advocacy groups. The Kochs have been instrumental in shaping conservative policies in the US, opposing climate change regulations, and promoting free market economics. Their influence extends beyond politics into education, where they've funded university programs to promote their ideology. How much of our political and economic landscape has been quietly molded by families like the Kochs, who operate behind the scenes? We also have the less publicized but equally powerful dynasties, like the Mars family, owners of the Candy Empire, and the Cargill family, who dominate global agriculture. These families have mastered the art of staying out of the spotlight, allowing them to amass wealth and power with minimal public scrutiny. The Mars family, worth over $120 billion, controls brands like M&M's and Snickers, while the Cargill family, with an estimated $50 billion fortune, supplies much of the world's food. Their low profiles mean their business practices, like labor conditions and supply chains, or environmental impacts, often escape the criticism faced by more high-profile families. How many of our daily decisions, from the snacks we eat to the food on our tables, are dictated by families we've never heard of? What unites these families isn't just their wealth, it's their ability to preserve and expand it across generations. Trust funds, offshore accounts, and tax havens are just some of the tools they use to ensure their fortunes remain untouched by taxes or economic downturns. They influence politics through massive donations, shape narratives through media ownership, and guide cultural norms through philanthropic ventures. Yet the darker side of this influence often remains hidden. How many wars, policies, and societal norms have been shaped not by governments or public opinion, but by the interests of a few ultra-wealthy families? The most chilling aspect of this story is how little accountability these families face. Their wealth insulates them from consequences, allowing them to operate above the law. They control the systems designed to check their power, from lobbying politicians to influencing public opinion. They're the puppet masters of a world where greed and influence are rewarded, and transparency is almost non-existent. How do we begin to hold such concentrated power accountable when it feels untouchable? If this video opened your eyes to the hidden influence of the world's richest families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us uncover the stories they don't want you to know.